sure. When you're under stress or going through emotional upheaval, it can be very disconcerting and throw you off balance. To regain equilibrium, we must find a way to restore our sense of peace, learn to find acceptance, and come back into harmony with ourselves. If you're feeling like you or your life is in pieces, it's time to gather yourself and return to wholeness. It may also be time to realign with what your heart truly desires, knowing what makes your heart sing, so you can attune to the frequency of your soul's harmonics. It's the full moon, so this is going to definitely be an illuminating discussion that will give you some interesting revelations today. I'm Jennifer Regular, and I'll be facilitating this panel discussion tonight with these amazing panelists who will help you to create inner harmony through effective physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual wellness strategies. We have Allison Cotton, we have Tiffany West, we have Roger Burnley, and we have Anik Patri joining us for this discussion. And I'd love for each one of them, each one of you that are here right now, to share who you are and how you bring about inner harmony in the work that you do. So let's start with you, Roger.
Your opening was so perfect, because that's exactly what I'm doing, is moving to that next level of who I'm supposed to be, which we're all doing right now. And I'm just so aware that it's been a big, massive global movement, and we're all feeling this push to become more. And the way we do that is, and that's probably the best time description of creating inner harmony, is moving into who we're meant to be, our authentic selves, what God gave us, and our soul mission, which we're all living right now.
I love that. I love that. And I love the confidence and the assurity that this is the time. It's time to really step into who we are and show up as our authentic self. I mean, authenticity is our superpower, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tiffany, who are you and how do you bring about inner harmony?
Hi, so happy to be here. My name is Tiffany West. I'm an emotional care coach. So I do a lot of the foundational work that helps you feel safe enough to come into your authenticity, which many of us abandon and detach from at a very young age because of early childhood trauma, emotional, relational trauma. Some of those scars that we can't even see, they show up later in life and impact the way that we can connect with ourselves. So I really help people work through all the gunk and some of that heavy emotional baggage so that they can clear out their space and really start to feel confident and connected to who they are, and then start living in their truth and manifesting and shining their light the way that they're meant to be. The work I do, I love it. It's exciting. We do get in and get our hands dirty, but we have to do the foundational work and work with the soil in order to plant good fruit. So that's a little bit about who I am. Happy to be here.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm happy that you're here too. And thank you for the way that you're uplifting humanity. Amazing. Anik, what can you share for us?
What do you want to know?
Who are you and how do you create inner harmony within your business?
That's the question, the existential question. Who am I? I'm unique, Anik Patri. I'm a French Canadian amongst all these Anglos. And I'm based in Australia, and I've been on a spiritual path for probably about 30 years now.
30 years, and now she's frozen in time. Let's see if she can come back. I know that she's one who really brings about joy. She's all about joy. And really, when we can be in that joy vibe, then we can really attune into our soul's harmonics and create that inner harmony. So we'll swing back once she comes back in. And Allison, tell us about you.
Geez, I'm Allison, and I am a business alignment and wealth mindset mentor. So I love working with spirit and bringing in the human design elements of how your energetic flow, how your feminine, how your masculine works. Self-regulation is a big part of that journey. And I love just supporting women get clients in their business, like make that happen for them in a really easy and succinct way. And when you were talking about the four energetic bodies, there's like the main frequency of human design too, because what must come in must also leave the same way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that and how we can create that flow through our human design, really attune to that.
100%.
Anique, we're back to you. What were you
What
saying?
happened? I don't know. I don't know. I got ejected from the Zoom. It happened a couple of times this week. It's a full moon energy is always a bit funny. Yes, I was saying I help empath and heart-centered entrepreneurs to embody your highest lucrative joy so that you can actually grow your soul's work, your business in more flow. You can make way more money and have way more fun doing what you love. So there you go. And creating inner harmony, I'm really excited about that topic because that's where it all starts. It's inner works first. Like if you feel good within, you can create whatever your heart's desire. But if you feel shitty inside, nothing's going to happen or shitty things going to happen. So I'm really excited to be here and thank you so much for this incredible opportunity to share some wisdom today.
Yes, absolutely. My pleasure. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited for this panel. And Allison just shared in the chat that something that can help Anique with the frequency, but can really help anyone. And that's having a selenite crystal to support you and the frequency. So thank you, Allison, for sharing that. Tiffany, you mentioned in your work that you see some of the things that can interfere with our inner harmony, with experiencing that flow, that harmonious flow that we can potentially have if we're not so hindered by all the things that can be blocking that flow. So I'd love for you to start with that, in answering that question. What interferes with our inner harmony?
Yeah, what I've found in my own journey is unresolved emotion. Not allowing ourselves to process and metabolize the emotional energy that's meant to flow through us. A lot of times we're not taught in our society how to feel, or we don't feel safe enough to feel emotions that don't feel good. We're taught, to be happy all the time and to be mannerable and polite and kind, and joy is our natural state of emotion, right? And so when we're not feeling that, I think it sends a signal to our brain based on how we're raised and the cultures sometimes that we're around, that you have to hurry up and get back to that because something's wrong when you're not feeling that all the time, and we're not able to incorporate all of those parts of us. I like to think of our emotions as keys on a piano, right? And if you're only playing the high notes and the light notes, the song's going to sound really strange and really weird. And so what I help people do is normalize and feel into those emotions that are hard and scary and make you feel like they could literally take you over. And I really think that that gets in the way of us being able to feel into flow and be in authenticity with ourselves and be able to share and emit those gifts that we're meant to have. And so the short answer is unresolved emotion. Unresolved emotional trauma, I feel like is at the root of that. And even further than that, that dysregulates our nervous system. So when our nervous system isn't feeling calm and joyful, that creates a sensation and a ripple effect throughout our whole body and our lives that we have to be into a fight or flight state, and we don't have access to those higher frequencies. And so I help people clear that, because that is our right to feel that way. It's our divine right to be in connection, to be in joy, and to be living in our truth, and to be sharing our gifts with the world. And I help people feel safe enough to do that. So I love that, because when I see people heal that foundational work, amazing things start to happen that they didn't even know were possible.
Incredible insights. And that's just so foundational to have that safety and security, to have that sense of safety and security, because when we don't feel like that, like you say, it becomes fragmented then. And I heard you mention about wanting to incorporate all the different aspects of ourselves, allowing for that integration, that wholeness, which is really what healing's all about, is coming back into wholeness. And there's so much that can take away from our soul. Different soul parts are left with different relationships, different agencies or organizations we've worked with, energy that we might have given away to others. It dismembers us.
Yes.
Right?
And we have to remember who we are, right?
We need to remember, come back together and incorporate and reintegrate and then recalibrate into a new frequency based on this healing, this wholeness that comes about, this retrieval of our soul and come back into soul remembrance and such. So it's really sacred work.
Can I add one thing to that really quickly? Is when I started my journey, I've always been very spiritual, and I've always been into manifesting in the divine and just, aligning with that. And before I learned about the emotional work, I found myself literally spiritually bypassing and emotionally bypassing what needed to be done here, because it seemed like an easier route, if you will, to just think positive or to say my affirmations and, get into the frequency of just focusing on my thoughts. And I found that that was actually more dysregulating for my system, because when it wouldn't work all the time, I didn't understand why. And I thought there was something wrong with me. So that's why the work I do is so important and so foundational. It means so much to me, because that was the key for me that helped me really tap into what was getting in the way, and doing this hard work and creating that sense of safety and security internally. Once my body felt safe and I felt safe to be in my body and to be who I was, that sent signals to my brain that I was no longer under threat. And then those thoughts were just positive. Naturally, I didn't have to work so hard to do that. So I just wanted to add that piece in, that they are all intricate pieces of the puzzle, and all of it is great. But if we skip the foundational part, that's where some people may come into that static in their frequency.
Yes, so true, so true. And for an empath, our systems can become very dysregulated. And Anik, I know that you primarily work with empaths. So can you share too what might interfere with inner harmony and more about how our nervous system can get dysregulated?
I suppose it's all before I got into mentoring coaching, I had a dance business for 10 years called Spiral Dance, 7 Steps to Expand Your Consciousness. And in that experience, what I've learned and discovered is, well, first of all, I am an empath. Like I think we all here, we're hypersensitive. There's a little percentage of hypersensitive. There's not that many people on the planet who are hypersensitive, like feeling energies and even seeing energies. And so anyway, I'm one of them. And so when I had this ecstatic dance business, I really tune into the physical body. Like you could be spiritual and be completely disconnected and being up with the fairies and not being embodied, like being in your physicality because you're not feeling safe. And that was my experience, my human experience. I would try to find anything to escape, whether it was through, alcohol or, traveling or getting busy or getting distracted, to not feel. And through that dancing movement, and which is all about the body, I been able to feel, as Tiffany, she's specialize in that, like really feeling what's going on in my body. And it's such an empowering tool that we have, our body, because it says so much about what's going on, what are our thoughts and what we're creating, because we're creating all the time. So what I would say is tune in, really, to break. If you're someone who lives in fears, like I was super anxious, I had PTSD, I was really stuck in my head, and I didn't want to be here, really, to be quite honest. I thought the world was completely cray. I didn't want to be on this planet. So I would say, the first thing is to really allow yourself to connect with your body, to go within, connect with your heart. And, Louise Hay talks about it. She was my mentor for many years. I met her in person a few times. She's an amazing woman. Louise Hay, she passed a few years ago at 91 or 92. She was an amazing mentor. The first thing is to feel safe, to go within, to connect with your body, and to feel your heart, like to feel safe enough to go in your heart. Meet the little person, the little child who felt unsafe, and that's the first thing before you can be the spiritual badass and embody your highest lucrative joy. You're really, step number one, connecting here and now with your beautiful sensual body, and tune into your heart. That's as an empath, as a human being, full stop. The journey starts there. There's no other ways than going there with it. Have I answered your question?
Yes. Really grounding and anchoring ourselves in this reality when we can get in touch with our physicality and really embrace the human experience and acknowledge those emotions in all aspects of ourselves, all our little children, all our teenagers, all parts of who we are and where we felt trauma or drama or unsafe, insecure, and basically reparent ourselves, right? And nurture ourselves in self-love and really create that for ourselves. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
Exactly. You said it in different, but it's exactly, I love that you said that, Jennifer. It's reparenting yourself, because 99.9% of humanity, like, we don't know how to parent. Our parents didn't know, our like, it goes back to ancestral stuff. To be able to sit with what's going on here and now, with the feeling and with the emotion and with the needs, primary needs. And, if we haven't felt completely seen and accepted in all our shadows and in all our brilliance as a child, we're going to spend the rest of our life, like, revisiting these parts until they're completely accepted, not by other people, but by ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Thank you. Yeah, to stop resisting those parts of ourselves we may not like or may not be aware of or want to remain hidden, and come into that self-acceptance. Thank you for sharing that. Self-acceptance, so important. Allison, I'm wondering if there's anything in our human design that may make us predisposed or make us lean to have tendency that can throw us off balance, or that would interfere with being harmonious.
I really think that our human design is a roadmap to get us out of that negativity, out of that. It's really signposted in the sense of, when you're in harmony with or alignment with your soul, your heart, your mind, your gut, that congruence, right? When you're aligned to that energy, for human design, as an example, for a generator, it feels satisfying, right? There's nothing better at the end of the day than having your entire, as a generator yourself, Jennifer, that, like, it's just so satisfying. It's like, I got all my shit done, and oh my God, it feels so good, right? The roadmap essence of human design is, where are you not yourself, and where can you become aware of what that looks like, and how can you shift back into that feels goddamn good. So in going back to the example of a generator, that will look like frustration. So if it's frustrating you, stop, start again, find a new path, find a new way of doing things. And they could be as simple as like, just stop doing the task that you're doing. If it's frustrating, you just stop doing that task, right? Walk away from it, get back into, I'm feeling good again. Let's keep moving. Has that answered your question?
Yes, that answers the question. Maybe you want to brush a little bit over some of the other human designs that people may relate to as well.
Yeah, sure. So each particular design has what I call a signature success. This is what makes you feel so goddamn good with yourself that you want to keep that momentum going. So as I said earlier, a generator is satisfaction. So anything that feels satisfying within you is aligned to your energy. And anything that feels frustrated is a signpost to say, it's not working. Right? There's 5 different types. So each one will have its own success. So I'll dive into a projector. So a projector, their signature success is success. So what makes you feel successful? What makes you feel really good that things just worked naturally? That, in the essence of, defining success, that could look different for everybody, but it might mean for someone, ticking 3 things off your to-do list might feel successful for you, just like it might feel satisfying for a generator. I know for me, our to-do list is so goddamn long sometimes, but to get like the 3 top main things off feels really good.
Mm-hmm.
So that satisfaction for the generator, that success for the projector. For a manifester, it feels peaceful. Again, the wording of human design can be a bit complex in the sense of peaceful. What does peaceful mean? And an example that I can pull as peaceful is we have, in my household, I have all but one type. So I've, over the years, noticed who does what and how they perceive their success. So for my son, success, he's a projector. For my daughter, she's a manifester. So peace just means things are working. Things are just moving forward in a nice, groovy direction, right? There's no drama. There's none of this. There's none of this existential stuff. It just feels peaceful for them. Yeah. A manifesting generator is the same as a generator. There is a little bit of a nuance with it that they are considered a hybrid of a manifestor and a generator together. So that peaceful satisfaction would be a signature success for that. So because manifestors are very much in the leadership role, they can very much take on multiple things, not just being a generator and taking on multiple things. They can take extra multiple things. There's this, it's just easy. Peaceful kind of feels like an easy. Mm-hmm. It's just happening real super easy, and I'm really satisfied with it as a mani-gen. And for a reflector, that is surprise and delight. So things that feel good are surprisingly delightful for them, in that childlike, oh my God, that's so cool, that curiosity and wondering, because a reflector is basically a reflection of energy within their environment. So feeling that signature success of surprise and delight, like, today was just so delightful. I went for a swim. That was a surprise. Someone invited me to go. And, it can look in many forms, but as a whole, it's that surprise and that delight that gets them into that alignment. And for them in that not alignment, it's disappointment. Mm. So your roadmap is, if you're disappointed, it's not working for you. Just like a mani-gen and a generator, if it's frustrating, it's not working for you. As a manifester, if you are feeling angry, it's not working for you. And a projector, it is bitterness. So it kind of feels like you want to complain, or you want to, because my son does this sometimes. He's like, he gets into that bitterness around the vibe of what he's talking about, you know? So yeah, that they're the frequencies or the balances between what feels good and what doesn't, as a guiding post with human design on how each type can be shown up in their representation of their flow and that harmony.
So helpful. So helpful. And what a great compass to use, and how to cultivate self-awareness around that, so that you know when you're not being yourself, right? When you're
Correct.
feeling bitter or disappointed or frustrated, and what it feels like too, that when you're aligned.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really good guiding light, because we all have our own unique strategy and authority, like our way of making decisions and the way of making ourselves feel the way we feel. So human design is a really good guide or roadmap, whatever word you want to sort of insert there, as a tool to use to keep yourself within that harmony that we're all seeking. You know, it definitely helped me with my parenting as well, just as a side note, because for me, I'm a generator. So I'm like a do. I've got all the energy in the world. God damn, keep getting, you know, I've got a million things going at once. You call me superwoman busy, but for my children who are not like me, my son is a projector, my daughter is a manifester. They don't have that consistent all the time on energy as a manifestor generator does. Right? So I actually had to learn I had to understand how they operated energetically in order to parent them in such a way that they felt good, that they felt like, I can do this on my own. I can take my own self-responsibility, like getting up for school. Me as a child, I was like up at 5 and I was on my go and I was getting dressed and ready to go like half an hour earlier than I should have been. Whereas my son, because the energy of a projector isn't like that, he's like last minute Joe, like, oh shit, school, what? And so when I understood that, it was easier for me to parent him in the sense of like, instead of going, get up now, and being in my own frustration of like, can you just get this shit done? Right? It was able for me to be a little bit kinder to him. Right? I understand that he needs some sleep. So how can I help him get some more sleep? Go to bed earlier. You know, start to wake him up a little bit earlier than he's 10 minutes before he's got to get up and go, you know, just little things like that.
It's amazing. You know, we talk about our own inner harmony, and you touched on that, and also inner harmony within relationships and with parent-child relationship.
Well, we are talking full moon as under a Libra.
Yeah.
You did say it was a full moon. It's under Libra, and that's all about balancing and around our relationships. So, yeah.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. And I'm curious what the audience is thinking right now. Whoever's watching right now with us live on the replay, I want to say hello to Nat, who's joining us here in the Zoom room. If you have any comments or questions, or you're resonating with a certain human design, whether it's a non-self feature or what it feels like, or anything that's been shared, we'd love for you to put it in the comments. Not with you here joining us, feel free to unmute yourself and share anything that you wish to. I just want to give everyone that invitation to do that. And Roger, let's hear from you. What interferes with inner harmony?
You. Because you No, this is cool, because you called me out a long time ago. Said I'm the reluctant mystic, so I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
That's right,
and
he did.
Allison, Allison, if you could have given me this information 34 years ago, my life might have been quite different then. When I didn't know about being a generator and why I was frustrated. I was frustrated because I wasn't being myself. And then Jennifer, about a year ago, we did a podcast, and then she said, can I share a portion of this where I said that I was this reluctant mystic? And so let me tell you how long I've been. I'm going to read this because this will help. This was from 1989. I started receiving, I'm doing automatic writing in 1988. But I hid it. I said, oh, I'm not going to tell people. That's why I said I was hiding out for a long time. Even though I was receiving information that was changing my life, it was just not this acceptance I couldn't do. This goes back to what Tiffany was talking about too, these old wounds that we have that we're all moving through. This is it. Yes, it is indeed wise for you to realize how powerful you are, and also to acknowledge the innate benevolence of your being. You seem to consistently maintain a subtle fear that somehow you would use your power in an ego-oriented way to the detriment of others. The truth for you is exactly the opposite. For the more you gain, you give away. The anger you sense or hostility at times, as you have also been aware of, is not truly directed at others, but merely a reflection of your inner frustration with the intellectual knowledge of your power and your simultaneous restriction of that power, which causes friction. It is everyone's power to do with as they please, and your individual way is becoming more clear and purposeful for you. Be grateful, be careful of the instilled limitations which would not have you own your worth. Relax and enjoy. That's the kind of information that I would receive, and it would come through exactly like that. And I said, but this is weird. So I'm not going to tell people because they're not going to believe me. And then in 2020, when the world started changing, because we're going through a different time right now. And so when the world started changing, I said, oh, I can't do this anymore. I got to start talking because I know what's coming through and I know what I'm supposed to do. And so I need somebody to push me. And Jennifer was a great push in putting that out there. And so now, but we all are doing that now. We're moving through that old stuff. And as Tiffany said, all these old ties, these old things that are generational this time as well, from our ancestors and all of that. That's why it's so chaotic globally. But we're here to uplift. And we can only do that when we keep taking those steps into who we are becoming. And so when I knew that I had to accept too, I was told I downloaded an ascension program, which didn't make sense to me. But then they said, you all have been through things. You all have accomplished things. You each have knowledge and wisdom that you can bring to the world now. And the more you do that, your world changes. And that's what we're all doing right now. But we can only do that if we deal with those ugly emotions, those old things that we have to extract from our system, basically. And so that's the work that I'm doing now. I'm just completely, I've been told I have to go all in. And the interview that I just did, I'm going to be exposed more. I can no longer hide. The interviewer, he said too, he says, well, I'm bringing you out of your spiritual closet now, because it's going to, in about 4 or 5 weeks, it'll be out there and it'll go to probably 50,000 people. And so it's no longer that I can hide that. And we all have to take those steps because it's different for everyone. We all have different life paths, evolutionary role we're on. And so, but at this particular time, they have become more important for all of us to own our gifts and all of that. So, yeah. It's so funny to hear that too. I never knew I was a generator and I didn't know why I was receiving that. So to hear Allison talk about it was just quite perfect.
Yes. Amazing. I love it. Roger, that was pretty profound, pretty powerful. Allison mentioned that in the chat too. So you're having impact, and that's the importance when we just do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
We follow our intuition even before it makes sense. When we share our gifts that we've been given, putting that out there, then we start coming into harmony with who we came here to be and do what we came here to do as well. And when I was going through different 12-step rooms and programs and that, there's something I heard in those, and it was HALT. And HALT stood for hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Now, those are very 4 key signs that one, you need to halt, stop, take a break, reassess, go within. And also things that can interfere with inner harmony, right? If we're not feeding our basic needs of rest and eating and supporting our well-being, not just taking care of our deficiency needs, which is what a lot of self-care is. It's not enough, right? It's sleep or eating or relationships or money or whatever it might be. Physical needs, of course, as we heard from Monique, physicality is very important. So we do need to tend to that. We also need to take care of our soul's needs, right? And our emotional needs. We're at the point where we're hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. How did we get there? We went unconscious. We were asleep. We didn't notice what we were doing, and creating that conflict within ourselves, those limitations.
I want to say something else too, because I keep wanting to remind people during this time, because sometimes people are moving through things that they don't understand, that are so challenging, and why they can't release them. We have to remember that we didn't come in here naked. We came in with our old stuff. We came in with our old families, our ancestors, and all of that. And now is the time that we have to move beyond that. And if we look at our world, we know that it's quite different than it was 100 years ago. And the reason for that is all the beings that came in decided to create something better. And that's what we're doing now, but just in a much grander way, because we're trying to create a whole new planet is what's happening, which is why it's so disruptive at this time.
Yes, absolutely. And so what would inner harmony actually feel like? Because there's so many of us out there that actually don't know, because they never experienced it before. There's no real frame of reference to know what inner harmony would feel like, because we've experienced so much trauma and confusion and chaos and dispiriting and fragmentation. Like, what does inner harmony even feel like? How can we help people imagine or feel into or embody what harmony would feel like? Anique, can you share that, since you're the joy expert?
I have I have something that came up straight, like when you talk about it, something I'd love to share that might guide the audience a little bit, because it feels quite abstract, like creating inner harmony. It could be quite woo-woo or abstract, and when you see the feeling, the analogy that came is like harmony. When we talk about harmony, we talk about music, a beautiful piece of music. That, like, I love singing, and it brings me great joy in my heart singing. I get in a zone, and it's very meditative, and there's no like monkey mind going on. And when you sing, when you play an instrument, when you hear an orchestra, the harmony of all the instruments coming together creating a beautiful piece of music that actually feels really yummy to your nervous system, to your physicality, to your heart, that takes you in a space of, like, sometimes the music really, you feel it in all your cells, and you absorb it, and it feels so delicious, like good food. So that's what harmony, when the beautiful music, it's harmony. So that's how it's supposed to feel in your body, like a beautiful orchestra, beautiful piece of music that feels good in your heart, that feels good in your body, that brings you completely absorbed in this present moment. Your mind wouldn't look for anything else than wanting to dance, or just wanting to be part of that piece of music. Does that make sense?
Yes. Wanting it, is what I hear. Wanting it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's what harmony. I when I'm in disharmony, or you can call it resistance, in fear, or I disconnect. I go back to Anik 3 years old. Go back to the past or something. I always go back within, and I ask my body to harmonize. That's one of my great tools. Harmonize. Okay, harmonize me. Just bring me back to harmony. You know how to do this. Or when I step into a quantum leap, into the next step of expansion, I ask my body to to harmonize with the new information, the new thing that I'm learning, to integrate. As some people would call it integration, harmonizing, because that's where the body has to follow. The mind goes really quickly, but the body doesn't always follow. Anyway, I'm going in a, like, yeah, I love talking about that stuff. But yeah, so yeah, if there's one piece you can take, audience, so the people who are watching and listening, replay, think of music, harmony, how, listen to music. And that's the feeling.
I love that. Thank you, Anik, for sharing that analogy. And you brought up another point too about how slow our bodies can be to changes, right? When we're, especially on the spiritual path, when we're elevating and we're raising our vibration, our body's still quite dense, and it takes a while for our body to integrate all of that, to embody that. And so it might feel a bit draining at first. And to allow the rest and the integration, to allow a natural reset to occur, or to consciously choose to recalibrate our body and ask for the parts of ourselves that know how to do that, to call on those parts. I thought that was really important too. Tiffany, what do you think inner harmony would feel like, and how would it make our life different?
It's a really good question. I feel like inner harmony feels like freedom. You don't feel bound to what's happening in your head. You don't feel bound of what's happening out there. There's no sense of threat or confinement, if you will, in external circumstances or even what's going on inside of you. When you feel free to be yourself, to speak your voice, to honor your truth, to go out in the chaos and still hold a sense of calm and groundedness, and knowing that, just like a tree in the winter, my leaves may fall off, but I'm still alive. I'm still grounded. I'm still safe. I'm still strong. I'm still here. And this is just a season. I feel like inner harmony is when you can feel all of those notes on the piano, and you can dance with every emotion and every part of you, even the parts that don't feel as harmonious. When you can invite those in and value them all the same, I believe there's a sense of freedom in I can feel anything. And if I'm willing to feel anything, if I'm not afraid to feel anything, then there's nothing I can't do. And for me, that's just been the biggest freedom, because I can't control what's happening in the world. We are living in a lot of chaotic times right now. And it can feel very restricting and imprisoning if our minds create stories around what could happen and the fears of that are very real for people. So to be able to, like Anik said, connect with your body, connect with yourself, come home to yourself and feel safe enough to do that, I honestly believe that's your refuge, and that's where you find freedom. And I also believe you can feel harmonious and you don't always have to feel good. You can feel harmonious. Like, this has been a time for me these last couple of weeks. I've been feeling a lot of grief, but because I've known how to show up for myself and comfort myself in those heavy emotions, it feels good to be able to feel heavy and still not have this urgency that this is not okay to feel this, that I can connect with myself in that, and I can love myself there and really validate and affirm that that's how I'm feeling, and just love on myself in that space until I shift into the next emotion. And so that feels harmonious to me, because I feel in balance and I feel very connected and full of myself and what I have going on. So I hope that answers the question.
That's so beautiful. And it felt so calming just as he spoke about it, because there's no resistance, right? Going back to that self-love and self-acceptance and being with, fully present with whatever emotion, feeling is present at that moment, and being with that. And there's such a softening that happens then, and that allowing and recognizing that we can be strong and vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fully embracing that and building the capacity to hold all of it, right? Not having to push anything away or limiting how that's showing up for us. I also heard about, you mentioned about seasons and really tuning into our own natural rhythm, whatever the rhythm might be, just tuning into that. can be harmonious. I love that. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mhm. Roger, what comes up for you when you think about inner harmony? What does that feel like? Have you experienced it yourself?
Yes, well, it's peace. First of all, when you can sit with yourself and not have anxiety and all of that, then you're connected with who you are. And you said, I think, I don't know who, one of you said in the beginning about remembering, putting ourselves back together. That's exactly what we're doing because it's all in consciousness. And so when I first started receiving information about what was happening in the world, and then I started saying, oh, we're having an ascension, I go, I don't know what that is. And then my guides said, yes, you do. And they took me back to a message that came through in 2013. So, and it was supposed for us to understand what we're doing now. And it was this one. You can also think of the process of expansion as ascending to the light. Some of the terms used here will be figurative and some will be literal, and you will decide which to use to gain the meaning. You are attempting then to become lighter, to ascend to that light. This requires your willingness to shed some weight in order to accomplish this. At times, that weight that you carry is your past. Anything that was done or accomplished beyond this moment of now can be thought of as your past, even as recently as yesterday, to help you grasp the meaning here. All that past has served its purpose. And as you become willing to drop it, you become lighter and able to ascend. This may all seem a bit esoteric, but also does not have to be. Simply stop weighing yourself down. That was the message.
That's an amazing message. Stop weighing yourself down. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the solution to everything. Unburden, become unhindered. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
There's an untethered. There's a Michael Singer. I was just listening to an interview with him with Tony Robbins the other day. And when I came across that book, Untethered, I said, oh, that's it. Not attached to whatever is. That's what it is. And when we can get to that place, then we're living that life and becoming our authentic self. And more times we're going to feel that peace. And so, and then what Tiffany was saying too, we get to this place where we know we're going to go through these kind of uncomfortable things and we're going to grieve. A lot of us are grieving for the collective right now as well. And so we understand that process. Okay, now just move through it. And now we're to the next level.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. And to care and not carry too, right?
Yeah.
As you're saying, that we're carrying all the grief for the collective and all that too. We can care. Just keep careful not to carry as well. Because
Yes,
that
exactly.
weighs us down.
Yes.
It weighs us down. And Allison is back, and I'd love for you to share, my dear.
I love technology. I really do.
Selenite.
I've got it here, and there's a big ass stick down there. But anyway, I thought of that irony when I was trying to come back on. What is it that you had a question about? Sorry, I've missed.
Yeah, well, we're talking about what inner harmony even feels like, and how our life can be different if we had it.
Harmony is that alignment, is that following your intuition, following in human design, your strategy and your authority, and having that awareness of, hang on, I'm feeling frustrated here, and what you said earlier about that halt. Like, I know yesterday, as an example, my husband was so hungry and so angry, and it was, the whole hangry thing. And he was swearing, cursing, and da-da-da. And I'm like, stop. Maybe you're hungry. And he goes, maybe I am. Get some food in your belly, and you start to automatically feel that harmony coming back in, It's following, to me, harmony is following those nudges of what feels good. In whatever way, shape, or form that looks like. Emotionally, do I feel good? Do I mentally feel good? Do I physically feel good? Do I spiritually feel good? Those four things are those four keys, And I did say earlier that what must come in has to go out the same way. So, You know, our emotions, we get told, you know, boys don't cry. So that's something that we are told, right? I look at that from the spiritual aspect. It's like the cosmos of the collective of everything that we've been taught. So then the boy believes I can't cry. So his mind then goes, right, don't cry. Then he triggers the emotions of going, you can't cry, you know, and then it becomes a physical manifestation of that not crying. It also has to be released the same way. You have to accept that boys cry. So the physical essence is I must cry, you know, and then the emotional release of like, this is okay. I'm okay with this. The mental release is this was me before and this is no longer me now. You know, the part that was, and it's just when we release and let go of all of those beliefs, those existential things that we were taught, and come back to our center, come back to our intuition, come back to our harmony of this feels good, this feels right. That's, I believe, what that harmony is. And I mean, it took me, I don't know, it's still taking me, I'm 45 now, and it's still taking me years to create and generate that harmony. You know, it's like an active thing that I'm consciously aware of every single day. Yeah. And it's, even when I discovered human design 12 years ago and sort of thought at the time I was thinking there had to be a better way than this life. There had to be a better way than what I'm feeling right now, because what I'm feeling right now doesn't feel very nice. So I want out. You know, and human design for me was that tool to go, right, this is what you're supposed to be feeling. Okay, let's start at that baseline. And then let's every day consciously commit to being at that baseline every day. Consciously committing to saying yes to feeling good every single day. Did that answer your question?
Finding that 0-point balance and yes, consciously creating the path forward.
Yeah,
Choose
I mean,
what our experience, right?
yeah, well, we are the creators. We are the experience creators. We create what we want to see, what we don't want to see. So why wouldn't you follow what feels good, what feels right, what feels intuitively aligned to all the bits and bobs?
Yes, I love that. All the bits and bobs.
Well, it's so huge. You can't just kind of define it as one thing.
True. Yeah, it's true. It's so true. I absolutely love this panel discussion tonight, this conversation. What can interfere with inner harmony? What supports it? How our life can be different and becoming unburdened and tuning into our natural rhythms. I mean, so many golden nuggets here. So anyone that's been watching, you may want to even listen to it again because there's so much to unpack here that has been unpacked. And I am so grateful for all of the panelists that have joined in this discussion. And I'd like to go around the room again and share how people can connect with you in the work that you do. If there's anything you want to offer the audience tonight, let's start with you, Tiffany.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Tiffany Coach Me. I'm on Facebook under Tiffany West in Aurora, Colorado. There's a lot of me out there. And then I offer a free monthly dating series. It's on the second Friday of every month. And it's all about dating your feelings and getting to know yourself and some of those heavier feelings. And I offer a safe space to really work through that and learn how to work those emotions and that energy through you so that you can feel more harmonious on the inside and really start to tap into your power of knowing that that is not something outside of your control. It's something that you can actually absolutely choose and create for yourself every day. And you're more than welcome to, I send out emails for that if you're on my email list. And then I post on social media before those datings come up. And I have one coming up on the 14th of April. We're going to be dating anxiety. So if you want to, that's a big thing right now out there. And if you're interested in learning how to handle that and manage that in a more healthy, harmonious way, I'd love to have you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Roger.
RogerBurnley.com is the best place to reach me. And then I'm also doing a a question and answer series with Wilhelm on Sunday. And it's just fun. We do it for an hour, so people can register there, and I send out the replay to everyone. And then the other thing that I have is my online program as well. But I'd love people to come to the session on Sunday, because it's my last one I'm doing for a while, but they've been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Roger. Anik.
Yes, thank you so much, Jennifer, for hosting, and beautiful conversation, really enriching, creating inner harmony. Well, you can find me my name. If you look my French name here, A-N-I-C-K, Anik Patry. I'm all over the place. The best place, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, name them all, TikTok. But the best way to connect is on Linktree, Anik Patry. Linktree, you've got all my offering there, and I've got a networking event that's really fun. So if you want to come and experience voice tapping, which is a modality that I've created, if you want to meet some soul-minded, be part of a lovely soul family, join Voice Elevate and Connect. So go in my Linktree. The links are all there, and I'm offering also one-on-one complementary conversation to see if we're fit to work together, embodying your highest lucrative joy. So reach out, Anik Patry, and book a call. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison.
I spend a lot of my time on Facebook, so you can directly link up with me through the DMs, of course. And I do have an upcoming masterclass where we are talking about your human design and how to use it in your business to attract clients. So that's coming up on the Monday the 17th. So you can grab your ticket for that. And I also, my Linktree is the one-stop shop to get everything, including joining my group, joining my tribe, joining my Facebook page, all of the things, all the places. You can find me there, and there is also a complimentary one-on-one business roadmap human design call if that is calling you as well.
Amazing. Thank you. And of course, this Inspire, Innovate, and Ignite Conversations That Count series is all hosted by SacredU.Love in our sacred community. Allison is one of the tribe hosts there, and Sophia Soul is here to tell us more about this community.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's been a wonder of, I've been listening here, putting everyone's links in the comments for everyone who is watching live, who can then just go and click on the links. But I've really enjoyed listening to everything, and all about creating in harmony and all the tips and techniques and stuff like that. So I'd just like to take a moment to honor you, Jennifer, for facilitating a wonderful thing. And I don't know if you've shared anything a little bit about you, because we're going to be putting your links in too. Do you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. I bring out the best in people. I share space, I hold space, and I share space for people to share their messages, mainly transformational experts like spiritual change makers, wellness advocates, light leaders, conscious leaders from all around the world on the podcast Awaken and Ascend. You'd find it on YouTube. There's interviews there from these amazing people every week. So, more of what we heard tonight, people just sharing their story, their experience, their perspectives, and strategies that can help you step into a fuller expression of who you are. So I invite you to check that out. There's some free things like a creative transformation class, guides to living with passion and purpose, or for soul care that you'd find on my website at lightingthepath.ca. And you can find some inspiration through the blogs on our sacred community. I write a lot of those too. So there's a topic there every week or so that might give some new insight or help you think differently on some things, shift your focus so that you're moving in the direction that you want to go.
Absolutely, thank you. And again, we'll be putting all your links in the comments below. And of course, you are our wonderful blog writer too. Jennifer writes some amazing blogs, and they're all on our websites, and the links will be in the comments. So thank you. And we have mentioned that Alison is also a tribe host. So Alison, tell us a little bit about your tribe.
My tribe is the Human Design Aligned by Design tribe, where each fortnight we gather together to discuss things, all human design, all things intuitive. We do some fun things in there like intuitive reading. So I do human design intuitive reading. So bring one question and we'll allow your human design to lead the way in what you need to hear right now. And those messages come from spirit. And then the other weeks, we just do some little mini trainings around certain things like your strategy and authority, especially important on how to start aligning your human design blueprint into and embody into that physical manifestation.
Wonderful. And of course, all those links are in the comments too. And come and join Alison's tribe and all of our other tribes. We've got over 20 other tribes now that you can join us just for $1 Australian. Try everything out for 3 weeks. And then after that, it's just $15 Australian a month. To, like I said, to join any or all, maybe not all of them, because there's quite a lot, but as many as you like tribes, especially the human design. We've also got anything in the metaphysical, health and wellness. We've got right now online with us, we've got Breaking Through the BS or the Bullshit Barriers. It's a very new tribe. It's starting today. So do click on all those links. And again, thank you. Thank you to Alison. Thank you to Roger and to Anique and to Tiffany and, of course, to Jennifer for sharing your passion for the past hour, for sharing your wisdom. I mean, it's really wonderful for everyone out there who has been watching the live and the replay and just putting this wonderful vibration energy into the world. Just like to honor you all. So thank you.